You have just 30 seconds to convince someone to give you your dream job, and most people completely fail.
Not because they are unqualified, but because they don't know what to say when it matters the most.
That moment when the recruiter looks at you and says, "Tell me about yourself."
And suddenly, your mind goes completely blank.
Today, we are going to fix that forever.
Welcome to a very special and very long episode of the Daily Active English Podcast.
I'm Sarah.
And I'm Elena.
And today, we are tackling one of the biggest challenges in professional English: job interviews.
Honestly, for many people it feels like climbing a mountain without oxygen.
Exactly. You prepare for days, maybe even weeks, and then your brain suddenly stops working at the worst possible moment.
That's why today we are going to be your oxygen.
We are going to give you the vocabulary, the structure, and the psychology behind great interview answers.
And not just simple scripts.
Because memorizing random sentences is not enough in a real interview.
Real professionals understand why they are saying something.
And once you understand the logic behind the language, you stop sounding nervous and start sounding confident.
So let's set the scene for our listeners.
Imagine a quiet office.
A recruiter sitting behind a large wooden desk.
The room is cold.
Your hands feel slightly sweaty.
Your heart is racing.
And then they ask the question that almost everybody fears.
Tell me about yourself.
Honestly, Sarah, this is the moment where many interviews are won or lost.
Absolutely. Most beginners panic immediately.
Their brains start searching for information everywhere.
They start talking about hobbies, childhood memories, or completely irrelevant things.
Some people even begin telling their entire life story.
Which is a disaster in a professional interview.
Because the recruiter is not asking for your autobiography.
They want to understand your professional value.
Exactly. They want to know if you can communicate clearly under pressure.
That's the real test.
Many people think this is just a basic introduction question.
But it's actually a soft skills evaluation.
The recruiter already has your resume in front of them.
So they already know your experience.
What they do not know is how you think.
How you structure ideas.
How you present yourself.
And how confident you sound in stressful situations.
First impressions are extremely powerful in business environments.
Sometimes the interviewer decides how they feel about a candidate within the first few minutes.
Which sounds scary.
But it's also good news.
Because once you learn the correct structure, you immediately sound more professional than most candidates.
And that structure is incredibly simple.
Present, past, future.
This framework changes everything.
Seriously, if our listeners only remember one thing from today's episode, it should be this framework.
Let's start with the first part, the present.
The present section should be about 20% of your answer.
This is where you explain your current role and your current achievements.
And wording matters a lot here.
Instead of saying, "I work as," try saying, "I am currently serving as."
That phrase sounds much stronger and more professional.
Because serving as suggests responsibility and leadership.
It sounds intentional.
Exactly. It sounds like you are contributing real value instead of simply existing in a role.
For example, you could say, "I am currently serving as a senior sales associate at a global firm."
And then comes one of the most important parts of the entire answer.
Your hook.
Something impressive that immediately captures attention.
A sentence that makes the recruiter think, okay, this person stands out.
For example, "I currently lead a team of 5 people and consistently exceed our monthly targets."
Notice that word, exceed.
That is a very powerful business English word.
Because exceed means going beyond expectations.
Companies love employees who go beyond the minimum requirements.
Nobody dreams about hiring an average employee.
Exactly. Companies pay more for people who push results further.
Compare these two sentences.
I do my job.
Or,
I consistently exceed performance targets.
one sounds passive.
The other sounds ambitious and valuable.
Small vocabulary differences create huge psychological differences.
And recruiters notice those differences immediately.
Now let's move to the second section of the framework, the past,
This is the biggest section of your answer.
usually around 50%.
This is where you explain your background and experience.
I really like the word background.
Me too. It sounds professional and organized.
Your background is basically the foundation of your career.
Everything you have built over the years.
You could say, my professional background is primarily in customer service and team management.
Or, I have spent the last 4 years honing my skills in digital marketing and content strategy.
Honing my skills is an excellent phrase,
Much stronger than simply saying, I learned.
because honing means sharpening and improving something continuously over time.
Like sharpening a knife to make it more effective.
That phrase makes you sound experienced and disciplined.
It creates the image of somebody constantly improving themselves.
And companies love people with growth mindsets.
Now let's talk about one of the biggest mistakes candidates make in this section.
Giving too much unnecessary information.
Please do not list every single job you have ever had since high school.
Especially if the experience is irrelevant.
If you start talking about selling popcorn when applying for a finance position, the recruiter may completely lose interest.
Unless you are applying to a movie theater.
Exactly.
Every sentence should support your application.
Every sentence should answer one silent question.
Why should we hire you?
That's why action verbs are extremely important.
Words like developed, managed, created, increased, improved, reduced.
These verbs sound active and professional.
Listen to this example.
I reduced operational costs by 15% in my previous role.
Managers absolutely love hearing sentences like that.
Saving time and saving money are two of the most valuable things in business.
Numbers are also very powerful during interviews.
Definitely.
Numbers make your achievements feel real and measurable.
Improved sales by 20% sounds much stronger than helped sales.
Specificity creates credibility.
And credibility creates trust.
Now let's move to the final section of the framework, the future.
This is where you connect everything together.
Your past experience,
Your current skills.
and your future goals.
This section answers one very important question.
Why are you sitting in this interview today?
Why this company specifically?
This is where many candidates become too generic,
They say things like, I just want a new job.
which sounds weak and forgettable.
Instead, you want to sound intentional and motivated.
For example, I am now looking to apply my expertise in a more global and fast-paced environment.
Or, I am eager to contribute my skills to a forward-thinking company like yours.
Forward-thinking is another fantastic business English phrase.
It describes a company that is modern, innovative, and future-focused.
And companies love hearing compliments about their culture.
Absolutely. It creates emotional connection immediately.
It shows that you research the company.
And that you are not randomly applying everywhere.
Another classic phrase is, I am looking for a new challenge,
Very common in professional interviews.
especially when combined with another strong phrase like, utilize my full potential.
Utilize sounds much more professional than simply saying use.
Professional English often depends on vocabulary precision.
Tiny word choices can completely change your tone.
Saying, "I want a better salary," sounds self-focused.
But saying, "I want to contribute at a higher level," sounds ambitious and professional.
Timing also matters.
Very true.
Do not start discussing salary within the first 5 minutes.
Please don't.
Focus on value first.
Money conversations come later.
Let's summarize the framework one more time because it is incredibly important.
Present.
What you are doing now.
Past.
The experience and skills you have built.
Future.
How you will use those skills to help the new company succeed.
If you follow this structure, you will immediately sound more organized and confident.
And confidence changes everything during interviews.
Even strong candidates fail because they sound uncertain.
Communication is often just as important as technical skill.
Sometimes even more important.
Especially for leadership positions.
So remember this mindset.
You are not a student begging for approval.
You are a professional offering value.
That single mindset shift changes your tone, your body language, and your confidence level.
And recruiters can feel that difference immediately.
Well said, Sarah.
I think we have built a very strong foundation for our listeners today.
But we are only getting started.
In the next section, we are going to explore even more difficult interview questions.
And more importantly, how to answer them naturally and professionally.
Stay with us.
Because things are about to get even more interesting. We are moving into much deeper waters now, Sarah.
You mean the part where the interviewer looks directly at you and asks about your greatest weakness.
Exactly, the question almost everybody secretly fears.
Honestly, it feels like a trap.
A psychological trap.
Like no matter what you say, you're going to sound bad.
But that is actually the biggest misunderstanding.
Because this question is not designed to destroy you.
It is designed to measure your self-awareness and your professional maturity.
Self-awareness has become a huge concept in modern business culture.
And it sounds complicated, but the meaning is actually simple.
It means understanding yourself honestly.
Knowing your strengths.
Knowing your weaknesses.
And understanding how your behavior affects other people.
Managers absolutely love self-aware employees.
Because they improve faster.
And they usually create fewer workplace problems.
Let's begin with strengths first, because even that section causes major mistakes.
The biggest mistake is being too vague.
Vague answers sound generic and forgettable.
If you say, "I'm hardworking," or "I'm a fast learner," you sound exactly like everybody else.
Recruiters hear those phrases constantly.
Sometimes hundreds of times per week.
So your goal is not just to describe yourself.
Your goal is to prove yourself.
Exactly.
That's why evidence-based strengths are so powerful.
Instead of giving labels, you give proof.
For example, don't just say, "I'm a team player."
Say something measurable and specific.
I'm highly collaborative and efficient in cross-functional team environments.
That already sounds much more professional.
But the real magic happens when you add a story.
Stories create mental pictures.
And recruiters remember stories far more than simple adjectives.
For example, in my previous role, I coordinated communication between 3 departments during a product launch.
As a result, we completed the project 2 weeks ahead of schedule.
Notice how different that feels from simply saying, "I work well with people."
One sounds generic.
The other sounds real.
Let's talk about some high-level business adjectives that sound extremely professional.
One of the most powerful words right now is resilient.
Especially in stressful industries.
Resilient means recovering quickly from pressure, difficulty, or setbacks.
Companies love resilient employees because modern workplaces change constantly.
Deadlines change.
Technology changes.
Entire industries change.
If you panic every time something goes wrong, companies lose confidence in you.
But if you stay calm and adapt quickly, you become extremely valuable.
Another classic strength is being detail-oriented.
But this one is dangerous if you're careless.
Very dangerous.
If you claim to be detail-oriented, but your resume contains spelling mistakes, the interview is basically over.
That contradiction destroys credibility immediately.
Consistency matters more than fancy vocabulary.
Absolutely.
Now let's move into the monster everyone fears.
The weakness question.
Most candidates try to outsmart the interviewer here.
They give fake weaknesses.
Things like, I work too hard.
Or, I care too much about quality.
Please avoid those answers.
Recruiters recognize fake weaknesses instantly.
And it makes you sound dishonest instead of intelligent.
The goal is not perfection.
The goal is honesty combined with improvement.
So how do we answer correctly?
First, choose a real professional weakness.
But not a fatal weakness.
Exactly.
A fatal weakness is something that would completely destroy your ability to perform the job.
For example, if you are applying to become an accountant, saying, I struggle with numbers would be catastrophic.
That interview would end very quickly.
But if you are applying for a software engineering role, you could mention public speaking.
Because public speaking is not the core responsibility of most programmers.
So the weakness feels real without destroying your professional image.
But this next part is the real secret.
Never stop after mentioning the weakness.
The improvement plan is the most important part of the answer.
Employers care less about the weakness itself.
They care more about how you respond to challenges.
This is where strong professional phrases become very useful.
For example, I identified this as an area for improvement.
That sentence sounds mature and responsible.
Then explain the action you're taking.
Such as taking courses,
practicing regularly,
or seeking mentorship from experienced colleagues.
For example, I'm currently taking an online communication course to improve my presentation skills.
Or, I've started volunteering to lead smaller meetings in order to build confidence.
Notice the pattern here.
Weakness,
awareness,
action,
improvement.
That structure works beautifully in interviews.
Let's do a quick role-play example.
Good idea.
Ask me the question.
Sarah, what would you say is your greatest professional weakness?
In the past, I sometimes struggled with delegating tasks effectively.
Excellent answer already.
Because it sounds real and believable.
Let's explain delegating quickly.
Delegating means assigning part of your work to other people.
Many high achievers struggle with this.
Because they feel personally responsible for every detail.
So what happened next?
I realized that trying to control everything myself was slowing down the team.
That's a very important realization.
It was creating a bottleneck in our workflow.
Bottleneck is an excellent business term.
It describes one point in a system that slows everything else down.
Like traffic stuck on a narrow road.
Exactly.
So how did you solve the problem?
I started using project management tools like Trello and Asana to improve communication and task tracking.
And over time, you became more comfortable trusting other team members.
Exactly.
That is a perfect professional answer.
Because it demonstrates growth instead of weakness alone.
Which brings us to another extremely important business concept.
Growth mindset.
We hear this phrase everywhere now.
especially in modern companies and startup culture.
A growth mindset means believing that skills can improve through effort and learning.
Employers love people with growth mindsets because they continue improving over time.
Nobody expects perfection.
They expect progress,
That is such an important sentence.
especially for people learning English.
Absolutely.
You do not need perfect English to sound professional.
You need confidence, structure, and consistent improvement.
Let's connect this idea to another very important business skill.
Adaptability.
Modern workplaces evolve incredibly fast.
New software.
New systems.
New AI tools.
Sometimes, everything changes within a few months.
If you cannot adapt, you risk becoming obsolete.
Obsolete means no longer useful or relevant.
Like old technology, nobody uses anymore.
That's why adaptability is one of the safest and strongest strengths you can mention in interviews.
Especially when combined with curiosity and willingness to learn.
For example, I pride myself on my adaptability and my eagerness to learn new methodologies.
Methodologies sounds extremely professional.
Much stronger than simply saying, ways of working.
Professional English often depends on precision.
Small vocabulary upgrades create huge differences in perception.
Today, we covered some incredibly valuable business vocabulary.
Self-awareness,
Resilient,
detail-oriented,
delegating,
bottleneck,
growth mindset,
adaptability.
and obsolete.
These are the kinds of words that make you sound polished and professional.
Most candidates stay trapped using very basic vocabulary.
But advanced business vocabulary changes the energy of the entire conversation.
It makes you sound experienced
Intelligent,
and prepared.
which is exactly how you want recruiters to see you.
Well said, Sarah.
We've covered a lot in this section.
But we are entering the final stage of the interview journey now.
The part where candidates either close strongly or completely lose momentum.
Next, we're going to talk about salary expectations, company fit, and how to finish an interview like a true professional.
Stay with us, everybody.
Because the final section might be the most important one yet. We are entering the final and possibly the most critical stage of the interview process. Sarah.
This is the stage where many candidates mentally relax too early. Exactly.
They think the difficult part is already over.
But in reality, the final 10 minutes often determine the final impression.
Especially when recruiters are deciding whether you are truly a culture fit or simply another qualified applicant.
Let's start with one of the most important questions in modern interviews.
Why do you want to work for this company?
Such a simple question on the surface.
But the psychology behind it is incredibly deep.
Most candidates answer this very poorly.
Usually with generic compliments.
You are a leader in the industry.
I heard good things about the company.
Or the worst one.
Your office is close to my apartment.
That answer destroys emotional connection immediately.
Because it sounds like convenience instead of genuine interest.
Recruiters want to feel chosen.
Not randomly selected.
That's why research matters so much before interviews.
Even 30 minutes of preparation can completely transform your answer.
Look at the company website,
Their social media,
their recent news,
their products,
their expansion plans.
their company values.
These details create intelligent conversation during interviews.
Instead of saying, you are a successful company, say something specific.
For example, I've been following your recent expansion into Asian markets.
Or, I admire your commitment to sustainable growth and corporate responsibility.
Commitment is an extremely powerful business word.
It suggests consistency, discipline, and long-term vision.
It also shows respect for the company's mission.
And that creates emotional connection very quickly.
Let's practice a high-level answer together.
Good idea.
Sarah, why would you like to join our organization?
I'm deeply inspired by the way your company combines artificial intelligence with human-centered design.
Excellent opening.
In my previous roles, I always focused on making technology more accessible and user-friendly,
which aligns beautifully with the company's philosophy.
Exactly.
Alignment is another extremely important business concept.
When your goals align with company goals, you become more than just an employee.
You become a long-term asset.
And companies love hearing that kind of language.
Because hiring is expensive.
Very expensive.
Recruiters want stability.
They want someone who will grow with the organization instead of leaving after 6 months.
Now let's move into the part of the interview that makes almost everyone nervous.
Salary expectations.
The famous money conversation.
Honestly, many candidates become uncomfortable immediately when money enters the discussion.
Because salary negotiation feels emotional.
And psychological.
Sometimes it even feels like a poker game.
Especially when you are afraid of saying the wrong number.
One mistake many people make is giving a number too quickly.
Without understanding their own market value first.
Market value is extremely important in professional life.
It means understanding what your experience and skills are worth in the current job market.
Not what you hope for emotionally.
But what is realistically competitive?
Instead of immediately giving a random number, start with a professional statement.
For example, I'm looking for a competitive salary that reflects my experience and the responsibilities of the role.
That answer sounds calm, intelligent, and professional.
It also shows that you understand industry standards.
Now imagine the recruiter pushes harder.
We understand, but what specific range are you expecting?
This is where strategy matters.
Never lock yourself into a single number too early.
Instead, provide a reasonable range.
Such as, based on my research and experience, I'm targeting somewhere between $60,000 and $70,000 annually.
Giving a range creates flexibility.
And flexibility is extremely valuable in negotiation.
It signals confidence without sounding aggressive.
Professional negotiation is never about fighting.
It's about collaboration.
Finding a solution that benefits both sides.
That mindset alone changes the entire tone of salary discussions.
Now let's move to one of the most underestimated moments in interviews.
The final question.
Do you have any questions for us?
This moment is incredibly important.
And many candidates accidentally destroy their momentum here.
By saying, "No, I think you covered everything."
Which sounds passive and uninterested.
Exactly.
Questions show curiosity,
Preparation,
strategic thinking,
and genuine interest in the role.
but the quality of your questions matters enormously.
This is not the moment to ask about free coffee or vacation days.
At least not in the first interview.
Instead, ask questions that sound future-focused.
Such as, what does success look like in this role during the first 6 months?
That question sounds incredibly professional.
Because it shows you are already thinking about performance and contribution.
Another strong example is, what is the biggest challenge your team is currently facing?
And then you can add, and how could somebody in this role help solve it?
That is a fantastic psychological move.
Because now the recruiter starts imagining you inside the team.
The conversation shifts from, should we hire this person,
to how would this person fit into our future?
And that mental shift is extremely powerful.
Interviews are not just evaluations.
They are negotiations of future relationships.
Also remember something very important.
You are interviewing the company too.
Many candidates forget this completely.
You are not begging for survival.
You are evaluating whether this environment matches your goals and values.
That mindset creates confidence naturally.
And confidence changes your body language, your voice, and your energy.
Now the interview is ending.
You shake hands.
You smile.
You leave the building.
Is the process finished?
Not yet.
One final professional move remains.
The thank you email.
Such a simple action,
Yet surprisingly rare.
which means it immediately helps you stand out.
The email does not need to be extremely long.
Keep it concise and professional.
Thank them for their time.
Mention one part of the conversation you enjoyed.
And briefly reaffirm your interest in the role.
That demonstrates professionalism and strong follow-up skills.
It also reminds the recruiter about you after the interview ends.
Which is psychologically very valuable.
We covered an enormous amount of information today.
From introducing yourself professionally,
To discussing strengths and weaknesses.
to salary negotiation and final impressions.
We explored advanced business vocabulary, interview psychology, and communication strategy.
If our listeners practice these conversations repeatedly, their confidence will grow dramatically,
Because confidence is built through preparation.
not through luck.
Record yourself speaking.
Listen carefully to your tone and pacing,
Notice where you sound uncertain.
and improve step by step.
Don't chase perfection.
Chase clarity and consistency.
Even native speakers make mistakes during interviews.
What matters most is sounding professional, calm, and adaptable.
I honestly think today's episode can change careers if people apply what we discussed.
I agree completely.
And I'm genuinely proud of everyone who stayed with us through this entire journey.
Long-form learning takes patience and discipline.
But the results are worth it.
This knowledge will continue helping you long after a single interview.
Use these tools wisely.
Practice regularly.
And trust your preparation.
To everyone preparing for interviews right now,
Good luck.
you are far more prepared than you think,
We believe in you.
and we hope to hear your success stories very soon.
Thank you for joining us on the Daily English Podcast.
We'll see you again in the next episode.
Take care, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.